In this video, I want to demonstrate how to finish this open pocket, but before I do, I realize there's still a mistake here, so I'm going to go back to the parameters. And I was told to only leave 5 thou on the floor, so I'm going to correct that. I'll say OK, and I'll regenerate that dirty operation, and now it should be fine. And next, I want to do the pocketing here. So I'm going to hold Control, and I have both of these two toolpaths copied. And I'm going to right click here and I'm going to drag down below the red insert arrow. I'm going to release my mouse and tell you to copy these two toolpaths after. I'm going to leave this here as a reminder that I have to fix things up. These are the correct tools and that's why I copied it, but the geometry is not correct. So first I'll fix this pocket and then I'll fix this one. So I'm going to select the geometry. I'm going to right click and I'm going to tell it to rechain all. And this time I want to get the bottom geometry and just tell it to select a loop down here. So I'll say OK. And again, I'll say OK. And I don't want to forget, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to click geometry. I'm going to right click, tell it to rechain all. I'm going to select this loop down here. I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to say OK. I'm not going to rechain yet because I still have things to do to fix these up. So I'm going to go into this parameters, and it's no longer an open pocket. It's now an island facing. So when I machine an island, there's a couple of things I have to do. And I have to tell it where the island is, and I haven't done that yet. So I have switched it to island facing so I don't forget. And also I can set these up. While I'm here, I want to leave 25 thou above the island for machining. I'll leave the approach distance to 1. I don't think it'll work, but I'll play with that later. For now, I'm going to say OK. And again, I'm not going to accept that because for island facing, I have to machine the bottom of the pocket geometry and the top of the island. So I need 2 pieces of geometry minimum. So I'm going to go back here to the geometry again. I'm going to right click and I'm going to tell it I want to add a chain. So I'm going to say add a chain. And this time I'm going to chain the top of the island and I'll say OK. Once again, I'll say OK, and same thing for this toolpath. Click here, right click, tell to add. I'll add this chain on top, and I'll say OK. The direction arrows don't matter. So again, I say OK, and then one more time we'll go into this parameter, and we'll look at it, and we'll take a better look this time. So I have island facing. I don't need to change anything else. For now, we'll go to the linking parameter, so the depth isn't correct. So let's select the depth tab and tell it the depth is down here. So it has the new depth, and I'm going to say OK. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come into the parameters. I'm going to change the depth to the bottom of the island. And then I'm going to come back and double check everything. Once again, it's not an open pocket. It's an island facing pocket. I don't want to leave anything for finishing. I'll say OK, and now let's try regenerating those 2 dirty operations. I'm going to say regenerate all. They appear to have worked. I'm going to select just this operation. I'm going to show its cut lines. So those look reasonable. I'm going to turn them off. I'm going to select this one's, show its cut lines. Again, they look reasonable, but it's doing depth cuts. So now that I see the depth cuts there, I'm going to go back through all of them again because I was told not to use depth cuts. So let's check this one out. I accidentally turned it on. I'm going to say OK, and I'll regenerate it. So let's look at its cut lines. It's good. Then I'm going to look at this one, make sure there's no depth cuts. It's good. Then I'll look at this one. It's good. And then I want to look at this one. And it still has the depth cuts, so I'll go back in its parameters, uncheck depth cuts, say OK, regenerate it, and that looks better. So now I want to see how these look. I have the last one selected. I'm going to hold Shift, select the first of this pocket, so these 4 toolpaths. And then I'm going to go into the simulator and simulate just those 4 toolpaths. So I'll say OK. And let's just turn on our color loop. So we can see where the 2 tools touch. We see the island and it's all cleaned up. So everything looks good. I'll save my work and continue.